Hi, I'm Razz. UFC took a week off after some COVID chaos and a lot of moving parts. Everyone's weighed in. UFC Fight Night 184 is Saturday night. This is MMA I. So the UFC returns Saturday night with UFC Fight Night 184, Overeem versus Volkov. I'm here to do my picks on that, but before I get to that, there's been a lot of conversation this week about Michael Chandler. He broke into the UFC lightweight rankings at number 4. Personally, I'm not offended by this. I kind of thought he'd fall in between 4 and 7, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think you got to take into consideration that he was the on backup for the Khabib-Gaethje fight. And then he fought a legitimate top 10 guy in Hooker and performed. I think there were probably some conversations, maybe some assurances made, so I'm not shocked by the ranking. The only reason I mention it is I just want to talk to the people who are saying things like, well, Chandler came over from Bellator, so I think it's just a slam dunk that Patricio Pitbull would be able to come over and dominate as well. I think you're doing MMA math. I think it's ridiculous. Stop it. Okay, so I'm going to get to my picks on the fights. The opening fight is Beneil Dariush against Diego Ferreira. It's a rematch from their fight in 2014. Dariush won that one convincingly in a unanimous decision. Ferreira lost that fight. He lost his next fight against Dustin Poirier. Hasn't lost since. It's pushing up on 6 years now. I think he's going to continue to roll. I think he's going to beat him. Dariush is no slouch. I think he's going to lose this fight, but this is one to watch. I think this is a potential fight of the night candidate. I also think it's a potential fight of the year candidate. This could be a great fight. Up next, Cody Stamann. He was scheduled to fight someone. He got pulled out for COVID and got replaced by Oscar. Normally when this happens, it concerns me for the fighter who is taking on the short notice fighter, but in this case, I think Cody Stamann knows what's at stake. I think he's going to stay focused. I think he's going to beat him. I think that the experience will win out in this case. Up next is Beneil against Alexander Pantoja. It's kind of the same thing. Cape's coming over from a different organization. He did all his fighting in Ryzen. I think the UFC is a whole different ballpark. I don't think he anticipates the bright lights and all of that, being overwhelmed by it, but I think it's going to take over. Pantoja has fought in the UFC for years. I think his experience is going to carry him to the victory. The next fight up is Clay Guida against Michael Johnson. I thought this was going to be the main event of the undercard. They moved it up here to the main card, so I didn't actually anticipate picking this fight. But for me, I think it's a simple pick. I think it's going to be Michael Johnson. Clay Guida fights, they can be exciting. There can be a lot of movement. But in this case, I just think Michael Johnson's going to be too much for him. I think he's going to catch him and knock him out. That brings us to the co-main event, Frankie Edgar against Cory Sandhagen. Frankie Edgar's one of my favorite fighters. I don't know that I've ever picked against him until now. The Sandman, Cory Sandhagen, he's an up-and-comer. Again, he's another guy that I've been watching back when he was fighting for Legacy. And I think he recognizes that this is a fight for his overall fighting legacy. I hate to pick against Frankie Edgar. He's pushing 40 now. Even dropping down to bantamweight, he's still the smaller guy. And he's given up a lot in height and reach. I think that Sandhagen's been able to keep him at bay, and I think he's going to get it done. That brings me to the main event, Overeem against Volkov. Can't say enough about Overeem, his legacy, what he means to the sport. But when I saw the two guys doing the face-off today, I just couldn't help but think, I must break you. I think Volkov's going to beat him. I actually think he's going to knock him out. I don't think it'll be early if he does. I won't be surprised if it goes the full five rounds, but I think Volkov's going to knock him out. That's all I've got for this week. Next week is a title fight, and I'll be back to do my picks for that. Maybe I'll do a little rehash on these picks here as well. But again, everyone, enjoy the fights. I will see you next time. That is all I have for you. My name is Razz, and this is MMA I.